Hi, this is Samantha, and I'm going to be narrating your tutorial video for the Module 1 Strategical Planning for your Earth Science unit. You will get 1 credit hour for this session, for this module. The workshop, you can earn several other hours through multiple activities, so know that this isn't the only module that we have for Earth Science, but this is where we're starting. In this module, we're going to be working through a strategical planning document, and you will submit it for credit. So just a disclaimer before we get started, you do need a Google account and you do need a Google Drive in order to complete the activities. So please, if you need to, pause here, and up here at the top there's some other links to help you. We've got the main page if you are in the wrong module. We have the Google resource videos, and that's where you can find the basics. And also contacting us, so if something's not working, please let us know. We can't do our job if we don't know what's going on. If there's an issue, please let us know. We're more than happy to assist you. And then the site map, that's just a map of how the pages are organized. So let's go ahead and get started with your module. Step 1, if you go ahead and access the Region 10 Strategical Planning document, I'm going to take you through this document so you know what each part is. If you want to go ahead and take a look at the TEKS before I get started so you can narrow down which one is appropriate for your grade level and or any other earth science TEKS that you might want to focus on. This is the video that's going to have the explanation of the alignment document, so just stay with me. You're going to submit, and I'll show you where that goes. And if you're not sure how to do share settings and things, those can be found in the videos for Google resources. So when I get to those portions of the documents, you're going to want to pause this video and go pull up the other if you're not sure how to do all that yet. So let's go ahead and look at the strategical planning document. I have created one that's a demo. You are going to, once you pull this up, want to make a copy. So if you go under File and go to make a copy, it'll pop up a new one for you that'll be blank, won't have anything on it except the questions that we have for you that I'm gonna take you through. Up here is the file. It'll tell you where it created that file item in. You're going to want to organize it, and that's in Google Drive. So if you're not sure how to do that, you're going to want to go to the tutorial videos to do so. Organize it. Mine is organized in Earth Science for this session, so I know where I can access it later. I have selected TEKS 8.8b. The student is expected to, so just for demonstration purposes, I put that in there. You're going to want to write the whole TEKS out so you know what your focus is. So what the document does is takes you through a variety of questions to help you plan for your unit and have student success in the classroom. The first question is, what concepts or prior knowledge should the students already know? Well, this information can be found in TEKS below your grade level of anything that they should already know. Now, it is recommended that you do some formative assessment, because we say should doesn't mean they do. So throughout the course of the other modules, there's a couple of probes that we look at for examples of formative assessment. If you need other suggestions, let us know. But there needs to be a plan in place so you can probe for what they should know. What concepts will the students need to learn? This information is the TEKS that you're focusing on. Vocabulary, anything academic or general English vocabulary that they need to know. Those things should be listed here in main ideas and concepts. What concepts are outside the scope of my grade level? If, for example, if you are a 5th grade teacher, you're going to want to look at the 6th grade TEKS. This column is what we call stay in your lane. If you teach 5th grade, you don't need to teach the rock cycle. That's the 6th grade teacher's job. So make sure you are well oriented within your TEKS so you know what it is your kids need to know in order to be successful and need to know well to be successful in the next grade level. If you are watching this and you are an 8th grade teacher, there is an Earth Science high school class. That is where you're going to want to go. And if you are a high school teacher and you just decided to take this module, you're going to want to look at college level geology type classes. So just some suggestions. So that's outside of the scope of your grade level. And then process standards. If you look at the TEKS, knowing what your student is expected to do with the science, so are they doing analysis, are they inferring, are they using a laboratory notebook, are they doing a field investigation, how are you going to have them do things with the science? That's what the process skills are. So looking at your year at a glance, your YAG, looking at your scope and sequence will give you clues on what process skills you're focused on. And this just depends on your district and how that's organized. If you're not sure, I would ask your science leader, whether that's a coordinator, department head, things of that nature. So knowing what process standards is important because that's what our kids need to be able to do with the science. On the next page, it takes you through instruction and differentiation. So what types of formative assessments are you going to use to assess the prior knowledge? So is that going to be an exit ticket? Is that going to be a quiz? Is that going to be a demonstration of doing a laboratory activity, interactive word walls? What are you going to do to make sure that they have that prior knowledge in place so there's no more gaps created? Additional activities. These are things that are going to build your students' content background. Are they going to do an internet search? Are they going to do an experiment? Are they going to observe and organize different types of rocks or look at different types of deposition and weathering and erosion? So they really have a good plan and good differentiation strategies within those activities. How are you going to assess that they're learning the concept? Are you going to have some open-ended questions? Are you going to use Kahoot? What are some things that you can do to make sure that they're catching what you're trying to teach them? And how are you going to embed the process skills? Again, what do we want the kids to do with the science? Do we want them reading charts? Do we want them predicting what would happen in an experiment? And how are you going to assess that they understand that process standard? Really looking at, if you are a tested area for STAR, looking at those questions, making sure your activities echo those questions is a good place to start. Looking at your common assessments as a district, if you're not a tested area, those are good places to start. So again, having that assessment for the end of your unit as I had suggested, or as it's suggested, to know your goals, really helps to determine how you're going to do these units. What types of interventions are you going to use to fill in gaps? Students are going to have gaps in learning. We don't know what's coming through the door, so it's important that if you see that there's a gap in learning of information that they should already know, how can we fill that information in? And after you teach them, if there's still remaining gaps, what are you going to do? So there's a way to, when you're doing reteach for mastery and things, to group students for its effective teaching practices. We look at the 3 tiers, Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. Tier 1 is about 80% of your kids are, it's an all-class reteach, something that you're reviewing maybe, not a huge struggle area, but a common one. You can do 80% of your kids in class. You don't have to pull anybody if that's just a generalized misconception or misunderstanding that the students are having with the content. If you have students that are in a low intervention, which means like small groups, that's about 8 to 10 kids per group, working with a teacher where you're asking them questions just to clear up some issues, that would be a Tier 2 level. Tier 3 is kids that just really need you one-on-one. So this may be at most 3 kids in a group, recommended 2 or less. If you're seeing issues at an 80% level, it's really not the kids. It's probably something with the content or something within the lesson that you taught. So it's important to go back and reflect on what happened that day, what happened in the classroom, and maybe why they're not quite getting it, and revisiting what are you going to do to fill in the gaps. Once you've done your intervention and you've allowed them a reteach moment, what are you then going to do to make sure that they have mastered that concept? So it is critical for you to have a plan, and are you going to do some type of a vocabulary assessment? Assign and define does not work, so you're going to have to find a a better way to go about looking to see, do they know the vocabulary? An interactive word wall would be a suggestion for that. Closed passages. When they're reading, do they understand what they're seeing? Doing an open-ended response, letting them explain, student interviews, just talking to them and finding out do they really know the information or not, are all really good strategies when working with interventions. So if you're done filling this out, you're going to go back to the module, and we have already done step 1 and step 2. Step 3, you're going to submit the information to the online module page, which looks like this. And you're going to enter all your information in. Your email is important so we can send you the certificates and get you the certificate generated. It's important you select the correct module. This is teaching and planning. The activity was your strategic planning document. And then the link to your session. There's another video that talks about sharing the links. This link allows the individual to view. I'm going to copy the link, go back to my document, and I'm going to paste it right here. And I'm done. So we will look over that, and once we see that you've completed the document to the satisfaction of the module, we will send you a certificate for 1 hour completion for credit. If you have any questions, let us know. Thanks for watching.